Welcome to the Real Chat Podcast,
where we talk business, lifestyle, and mindset.
For the modern entrepreneur.
I'm Baxter Colburn.
I'm Allison Elise.
I'm Mandi Wilkie. Let's chat. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Real Chat Podcast. We are in season 2. And one of the things we decided to do was talk a little bit about or talk onto a topic brought up by one of our listeners. So someone asked about manifesting things as an entrepreneur. And I think when I originally brought it up, Baxter's like, I don't know if I've actually done that.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I would parallel them to really manifesting or goal setting, calling it what you will. Mm-hmm. So where do you see yourself in your business? What do you aspire for your business? What are you working towards for your business that's actually come to reality? Mm-hmm. So whether you call that manifesting or goals, I'm a true believer in thoughts becoming things. Mm-hmm. I know I personally have some to share about my own personal business, but I think we all three wanted to speak on it because it was something that was interesting to you. Mm-hmm. So
now that I understand more, I'm like, yes, I got a couple. Sure.
Yeah. And I think if you are an entrepreneur, in any sense of the word, you have to have some direction on where you want your business to go and some thought process on that. Yep. So Allie, you started your business very, very young. We've talked about that a few times on the podcast, but what are some things that you think, either goals that you've hit or things that you've manifested into your business that you want to share?
That's a hard one for me. Manifestation to me is like speaking things into reality, speaking ideas into reality, speaking on my day-to-day as though they are already mine. Mm-hmm. So my life is the life that I want is already mine. It's just, I'm on this journey of attaining that type of lifestyle.
Love that.
And I have been constantly in a growth mindset from the moment that I was born. I have always constantly been in this I can be better mindset. And some of these manifestation things that I've done in my business that I think have really kind of just allowed me to live my life to the fullest in a business aspect is speaking different types of like sessions, like photography sessions, speaking different types of clients that I get to work with into my reality, talking through and really showing up as the type of entrepreneur that I want to be, showing up as someone who carries herself in a certain way and communicates in a certain way and tries to make sure that I give everybody a specific experience. And it's pretty general, honestly, because I've manifested a lot in my business that I feel like has become reality for me in the past couple of years between kind of doing the opposite and deciding that I don't want to take on as many weddings. I used to take on 40 weddings a year, and it was one of the busiest times of my life, simultaneously one of the times that I also happened to be a single parent. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to do less.
Yeah.
That's something that
we talked about that a lot at the end of season 1.
Yeah. Do less. And I manifested some of these more ideal clients and more ideal situations into my life, traveling more. Last year, I really set a sight for myself. And this is a more, concrete, I guess, thing that I could share. Last year, at the beginning of the year, I said, I just don't want to spend 2024 every single weekend shooting weddings. I want to spend time with my family on the weekends. I want to make room for the clients that want me to go places with them, that want me to take, pictures of their moments, but in a different way, whether that's a, courthouse wedding and a 4-hour wedding or something like that. That was something that I really, really wanted to be a reality for me so that I could spend more time as a mom. Mm-hmm. Because I've spent all the time on every weekend being a entrepreneur. Right. So that was really important to me. And so I spoke that into existence. And this year I finally am like, I feel so free. I feel so excited because I don't have every single weekend booked. I have time and space, and I made that space because I've manifested those things into my reality.
I love that.
Yeah. Just keep it short and sweet because I could go on and on and on, but I think it's really important that when we are setting goals and manifestation journeys and in that lifestyle that we build for ourselves, you can set your goals a little bit smaller to attain them quicker, right?
Right.
Or you can set them so big that sometimes it feels like you're always climbing a mountain.
Right. Yeah. You have to have the little ones along the way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Has there been that one though, that like one goal that like, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get there. And then you got it and you're like, wow, like, I can't believe I got that, or I'm here now.
Yeah, for sure. That happened to me last month when I was on my trip in the Cayman Islands.
Hugging a stingray.
Yeah, hugging and kissing a stingray. The stingray tried to make out with me.
Wow.
Just hung out by me for like 25 seconds. It was so cool. To be honest, 2 years ago when I had Wes, I was in such a dark place with my business. I had so many roadblocks. I had so many creative
I remember that.
Yeah. I just felt so lost in my business. And I have always loved to travel. It has always been my dream to travel for photography. It was always my dream to be an elopement photographer, destination photographer, be your friend so that you want me to like hang out with you on your trip. Like that is part of my personality. It is who I am. I can merge and mesh with pretty much any group of people. Being in that headspace, it was really defeating. It was really hard for me to see that could become a reality. But it was something that after we moved to our small house and we sold the house that we lived out in the country, that was my absolute dream house. We sold that. I felt like I lost a part of me. A part of me died that day that we closed on that house.
Sure.
Which is also why we were in Florida when we closed on the house, because I couldn't. We signed everything ahead of time and I was like, I can't. I cried so much about that. And I think it all kind of plays into a role of how that like postpartum depression played into it. Yeah. But from losing that, gaining the opportunity to travel a little bit more opened my eyes to, okay, I love doing this. I want to do this. And then last month when I was there, I honestly had this moment and this conversation with someone. We were sitting on a cliff and the bride and groom were about to cliff jump on their wedding day. And I had to take a step back and I was like, I am here right now. I am doing this. I am experiencing this. I don't want to let this moment go. I am so alive right now. Mm-hmm. It was the coolest experience. I would definitely say that travel aspect of my business came to life, and it's like all I think about now. I'm like, what a dream would it be to just constantly travel. It's
super important that you acknowledge that. I mean, so many times as entrepreneurs, we are going, and we hit these milestones and we don't stop and celebrate them and really reflect.
Yeah.
So you had this moment that hit you that you reflected on. I've got a moment like that.
I'm still living in it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But Baxter, what about you? What are some things, was there a client that you were like, I want this client, I can see myself working for this client? Or I know a big part of it is the opportunity to maybe say, I'm doing Colburn Creative full time, right? And yeah, that's something that you're chasing and speaking into the universe. But what else do you think you've done? Yeah,
a lot of the goals that I've set, and some might say this is worldly, but have been monetary, right? For me, of like, but it was, and I mean,
shocker to entrepreneurs
I know, which is a weird
there.
Thing as a business owner, right? But like that, I think hitting some of those, I could do 100 shoots, but if I made $20 doing 100 shoots, right? Like I would really have to re-examine, like, what am I doing? So part of that for me, for goals was, okay, if I have a decent amount of shoots, but I make a good amount of money, that means there's something here, right? Type of thing, at least in my brain, is how I kept doing it. So I had monetary goals of saying, well, I want to make at minimum an average of $6,000 a month in my business. Great. Hit that goal last year and have continued to do that, push that higher to 8,000 to 10,000 now. I'm like, fantastic. My goal year one in my business, I forget if I've talked about this, was I wanted to make, I think, $15,000. I was like, let me just see what I can do. I'm like, I was like, no clue. Made 35, and I was like, okay, like, wow, that was unexpected. I'm like, cool. I'm like, all right, well, year two, I'm like,
set your goal a little too low there.
Well, I didn't know any better, right? Kidding. Like, I didn't know any better, and so year two, I was like, oh, like 50. I'm like, let's just see what I can do with 50, right? And I got 75 that year.
Amazing.
And then this last year, I was like, all right, I'm like, let's do. I think what I said, I think it was like 80 or something, like right around 80. I was like, well, I'm like, let's just see, like, if I can do it again, like one more time type of thing. And I made
was it a fluke or was it serious?
Correct. Yeah. Cause last year was the first year that I like really tried. And I was like, well, let's like really try and see what happened. And I made $92,000. And I was like, okay, I'm like, I got it. I see what's happening here. I'm like, this is fascinating to me. So my goal is $100,000 this year, and I've got 70,000 already like accounted for the year. And I was like, oh, like I had this moment with Rachel in the kitchen over the weekend. I like looked through and was like telling her about that. And I was like, it's March. I was like, this is insane. I'm like, this should not be happening. And she was like, but why can't it be happening? I was like, because it's March. Like I have like, what, why? But it's hard work. It's been dedication. And my goal was to always find high paying reoccurring clients, right? That's the goal for anybody, right? Yeah. The relationships. And my biggest paying client is been a 3-year journey to get to that point
planting
now,
the seeds.
Right? Exactly. But it was always, oh, nice to meet you, to one day, to, hey, I'm ready to have the conversation, to finally like, here we go. And I was like,
aren't those phone calls fun?
Oh, yeah,
when
it
someone's
was.
like, hey, we're ready to pull the trigger. And you're like, what now?
Yeah, 100%. Especially when the number,
Like, we haven't talked in 6 months, really? You didn't forget about me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially like when the number that you know, and you're like, I don't know if they're going to take that, like maybe. And they're like, yep, that looks good to us. I'm like, really?
Maybe I should adjust it because it's been a year since we talked about this.
Yeah, exactly. But that was kind of the green light for me, where I was like, okay, like here we go type of thing. And yeah, of course it's the overall goal is to do this full time. Right. But when I shifted my schedule to get rid of Mondays altogether, like that first Monday, I was like, I don't have any, it's me today.
What
like,
am I doing for the next 8 to 10 hours
today? Yeah. So like that was a really cool benchmark to hit, and to now work my way more towards that has been encouraging. So, I'm not motivated by money, but money's helpful for me, right? Because it's helped me pay for a wedding. It's helped me buy an engagement ring. We're buying a new car tomorrow in cash.
Bought a new house?
We bought a new house because of all stuff like money that I've made in my business. And I'm like, oh, like it would just take a lot longer if it was just day-to-day income from Rachel and I's jobs, which we're very grateful for the work we do, but the process would be so much slower, right? Type of thing. And to pay off debt and to have that financial freedom, which is so important to both of us, is incredible. We both want to travel. We want to go see the world, right? And do all that fun stuff. And I'm like, we'll be able to do more of that in the next couple of years because we'll be in such a better spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's admirable to have the goals, but it's more admirable to be patient as an entrepreneur. I was going to say entrepreneurship. As an entrepreneur, like, again, our goal here is to connect and reach out to entrepreneurs. So letting people know the reality is some relationships might take a really long time.
Very much so.
But if you continue to carry yourself in the right way, you continue to follow up, you continue to just be present and be out there and plant the seeds. If you're always working, you're always planting the seeds. They might not always rain into a crop that day, but they will eventually. Yeah. I think that's huge.
And you would ask like what a big goal is. Like if I had a dream shoot, right? Like I want the probably running behind, but I want to take the shot of whoever it is running out of the tunnel at Lambeau Field, and I want to run in with them, like following them as they come into Lambeau Field.
Like anybody, right? Like me running through the tunnel, or like a certain player?
Like it doesn't. Well, it's hard to say. Like it'd be great. Like a few years ago, like I would have loved to have shot Aaron Rodgers running in, right? Like or whatever it is, but like. That still is the dream, is to do something for the Packers in some capacity, right? And I've worked inside Lambeau Field, but not for them, but with Packers. Like it's a weird, like I've touched it, but I haven't like done it, right? Type of thing. So that still is the big goal for me, because sports is such a huge piece of my story and how I am where I am today. I'm like, I want that, and the Packers have always been a thing for me, and I'm like, whatever that looks like. If you live in
Green Bay, it kind of has to be.
100%, right? But like that's a boyhood dream of mine, is to run into Lambeau Field, right? Like with the team. But I'm like, if I can do it now, like shooting, right? Like that would be so cool, right? But that would be a moment like you on the camp, like if I'm getting ready to run in and be like, where am I right
second?
now?
Can you pause the game clock?
Yes,
can you pause the game clock? I'm running through the tunnel and I need a minute.
Correct.
To gather myself.
100%. Yeah. But like that's like the big one for me. And I love the lifestyle. I love the Airbnb stuff that I've been doing. Like some of those are so cool, and never thought that would happen. But like,
I mean, how fun.
I love it.
To get paid to go and stay somewhere glamorous for a weekend. Or to get paid to drive a nice car for the weekend, or get paid to wear a cute outfit for the weekend. I mean,
100%.
It doesn't suck.
No. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Why?
And it's always funny because then you'll see the people like, oh, well, it looks like, things are doing this or doing that. I'm like, guys, like, do you not have...
I don't need your business because everything else is perfect.
Correct. I do love that. I've had like past clients.
I do too.
I've had past clients come up to me recently that I've seen just out and they're like, oh, like business must be going really well, huh? And I was like, hi to you too. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah.
But like, I found I'm like, I haven't posted on social media in a week. And I'm like, does everybody think business is bad right now? I'm like, like, I don't know. Like I posted a ton of stuff for a while and then I stopped for a little bit and then I post and then I stop, and we all kind of do, right?
Yeah.
But I've noticed that the more I post, the more people are like, wow, like you must be just crushing it. I'm like, or I had 5 minutes to post.
Right.
Like,
or I'm just barely holding on.
right. Exactly.
Such a
Right.
misconception. Social media.
It makes me laugh.
It is
makes me
such a
laugh so much because that's the only context that these people that have asked me about wouldn't have. And they're like, oh, you've been posting and I've watched it, so therefore you must be busy. I'm like,
And as an entrepreneur, that's something that no matter how long you're doing this, you're still going to struggle. I had a similar struggle because I had several new partners in a period of time and I didn't post for a couple of weeks, and then I posted them all within 2 weeks. Everyone's like, oh my God, you have a new partner every day. And I'm like, that's because I didn't post about them for a month and a half.
Yeah.
Right. But what it looks like is, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with the new business coming in.
Yeah.
And the reality is you try not to post 3 in a week. So now it's going to take you 3 months to post. And it's a catch-22, right? There's 2 sides to every coin. So when things are going well and you're posting, there's people that want to be a part of that and they don't want to miss out. So they're like, I need to call Mandi. I need to be a part of Stroll Edgeview. I want to do this. The other side of the coin is, well, she doesn't need my business anymore. She's got all this new business. I can bow out. I cannot show up. I cannot fulfill my agreement. And then you're like, wait, what? But it's a very tedious act of balancing.
Yeah.
And what's the right way to do it and figuring it out. So when you, future entrepreneur that are watching this, figure it out, please give us a call.
Yeah, right.
And let us know. But it's something that you battle with.
But what about you though, Mandi? Like have you done all that you wanted to do, or what?
Not even close.
Yeah, what's like one thing?
But yeah,
it's so funny that you asked me this because while we were on vacation, naturally we have conversations that we don't normally have because we have time.
100, isn't that fun?
And
I love that.
Shane asked me this question. He said, if tomorrow you woke up, no questions asked, and there was $20 million in your bank account, what would you do? And you know what I started? I actually started to cry a little bit. And he's like, what's the deal? And I'm like, it's been so long since I've had a dream mindset. I've been in survival mode for 6 years. I literally can't tell you what I would do with $20 million because I haven't thought 5 minutes about what life would be like with total financial freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just total transparency.
100% agree.
I've got
with you
2
on
kids
that.
in college. I've got all this stuff going on. And yes, the business is doing well, but that doesn't mean that I don't need to do it.
Right.
So I think there was part of me that felt like a little upset with myself that I didn't know what I would do if I had these great opportunities. And I was frustrated with that. I'm like, I don't even know where I would begin. So it kind of hit me. So have I done all I want to do? Not even close. So I haven't really thought about that. I think going back a little bit to something I've manifested in my business, mine probably looks a little different than yours because I am part of a franchise. So there are people that have done this before me and have set the stage, and I have a program that I can follow.
Absolutely.
So yes, I have to choose whether or not to follow it, but there is one out there. So I remember I went to training for this job in May 6 years ago. Crazy to think about. 6 years ago in May, I went to training. A week after I went to training, we had our national conference. So I knew nothing other than what I had been trained on. And then I go to this conference and I sit in this room with 800 people that have been doing this for some 5 years, some 10 years, some 1 year. And I went and listened to a breakout session, and it was Robert Smith. Robert Smith is a very successful area director in our company. He went to Clemson. He played football. He played in the NFL. He's got a great story, and he's rocking out this business. Kudos to Robert Smith. But he spoke in my first breakout, and he had only been with the company a short period of time, and he shared his story. And he talked about how he learned the intro, and on the way home from his training, he sat in the airplane and he looked at his reflection and he memorized the intro, right? He got an award that night at our company. So I didn't know when he presented that he had hit a milestone in the company so early on, and he walked across stage. And I remember saying, I want to be like Robert Smith. Now I'm nowhere near Robert Smith now. But when he started in the award he got, I did get that. And I did say I was going to walk across the stage and I was going to get the award. And it took me a year to do it, but I did it. But he did that. I said I wanted to do that. That's something that I feel like I manifested.
Yeah.
I feel like at one point I said I wanted my magazine to be 75 pages every month, and it was. Then I quickly learned that I would love to see on my cover. That would make me feel like, yep, that is, and I won't name any names, but there's some pretty big families that live in Ledgeview. So I think some of those things would make me feel good. There's milestones in our business financially that we get recognized for.
Sure.
I've hit 2 of those. I'm on to the next one. I've spoken that into the universe. I've planned it into the universe. So I think I'd be lying if I said financially wasn't important to me, because finances are important to me. Reputation wise within our company, I like to be acknowledged. So that is something that I've said, how in a big pond can I be a big fish instead of a little tiny fish, right? And now I'm on the leadership team. And that was something that I was like, I want to be a part of that. So I think some of those things, aside from the dreaming, that survival mode, and we forget to dream. And I think that's just as important. So my goal from this conversation is, what are the dreams that I want manifested? Because I've done a lot of manifesting within the business, but what are the dreams? I have a little bit of a similar situation to you, though, that I wanted to share that I think we've talked about this a little bit. In my divorce, I had something called a vocational assessment, where a group of people comes in and basically says, this is what you're worth, whether you make it or not, we don't care. This is your number. And they do it based on your past history, your education, what you've done. And at the time, I felt that number was a little unfair. I wasn't happy with that number. I was like, hey, thanks for thinking I'm that awesome.
Yeah.
But I remember that number being like, holy cow, I hadn't worked full time in 6 years. And I was like, that is a big, scary old number that they think I'm worth. I hit it this year. This last year. Yeah. And it was funny because it took me 6 years. But it's funny because I opened up, you know, when you get your tax document that says how much money you made, I opened it up and I looked at it, and I literally, Shane was there. It sounds like I cry a lot. I really don't.
I was like, let me guess.
I literally started crying, and he's like, what's the matter? And I'm like, I finally hit the number they thought I was worth. And he looked at me, as any good supportive partner should, and said, they've way underestimated you. You're worth way more than that. Right. But in the moment, I felt like that was something that somebody else put on me.
Correct. Yeah.
That said, if here's your potential. If you work below that, well, then shame on you. And I'm like, gosh, that's a hard thing for someone to just say, Allie, here's what we think you're capable of. Whether or not you do it, I don't care. But go and have at it. And that's
enjoy your life.
Yeah. And that's what my child support was based on. Right. So if I didn't make it, the only one was suffering was me. But I think taking that moment for you to stand on the cliff when you go through the tunnel, not if, when you go through the tunnel, when I hit that number, making sure we take the moment to pause and acknowledge it and be proud of it. And then what's the next thing? What's the next thing for Allie? Because she's standing on the cliff, on the beach, doing whatever, which she said she wanted to do. Now what's next?
Right.
And how do you always got to have a what's next, or your entrepreneurship
100%
isn't going to last. Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So there's mine.
I love it. I'm really curious. This came to me as we were talking, and I know we're getting lower on the remainder of our time, but I'm really curious from an entrepreneur perspective and from a goal perspective, right? We were talking about like manifesting and seeing things out there, but sometimes how things are judged are obviously goals you hit, money you make, but another thing is sometimes do you win an award, right? You're talking about winning awards. And I am fascinated to get your thoughts about this, because in the area that we live in, the whole area just had their like best of awards, right?
Like
and all
best of the Bay.
Yeah, best of the Bay, and all these best ofs happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect to get nominated, didn't plan on it, didn't, and haven't, which is fine. But like, there was a weird part of me for like 2 seconds where I was like, well, nobody thinks I do anything good. Because I was seeing other people getting nominated that I was like,
I'm not even nominated.
yeah, I'm like, I'm better than them. Like,
Same.
and I didn't mean that like, but like, I felt very icky for like a minute because I was being super judgy, which was not necessary. And then feeling
Shame
hurt
on
for
you for
something
being
that I was
human.
never even a part of. But
Yeah.
I was like, gosh, I was like, why am I feeling this way? But I'm just curious from your perspective, if you saw that, if you thought of that, like if it's been something in the past or not, if you've been nominated, I don't know. Like I've never have, and I don't think I ever will. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm curious.
I got Best of the Lakeshore in
Okay.
Manitowoc 10 years ago.
Okay.
So
And downhill from there. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you. Thank you, Addie.
Thank you.
real.
I
Yeah.
voted for you. Right?
you're probably right about that. I'm at the top. It's only
Right.
I'm the
Best
only
of the
photographer
Lakeshore,
in
baby. What
town,
do you got
and
for me
I
now?
won the award. Damn it! How do we get that figured out?
I remember a time in my business where that was my goal. That
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah.
I want to be known in the Manitowoc area as the best of the Lakeshore. And then I moved away from the Lakeshore. And then I was obviously just in the middle.
In the, in the bay.
nowhere.
Yeah,
Like,
right,
Yeah. She's the best in the country.
Shadow.
Yeah. Best of shot. That's a bit.
No, like country, like farmland.
Yeah,
like
that's what I
you're
mean.
not being seen.
That's what I mean. Best
Not
of
the United States of
best
America.
of the pasture.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
call
a
it the
tough one to
pasture.
compete in.
Sure. But I did see, so like 2 years ago when I first started working in De Pere, Best of the Bay, obviously my sister wins chiropractor and
Dang it,
she's
Sadie.
worked so hard for that and she's done so great and
Yeah.
she's been nominated. And I'm like, for all the people that I serve in De Pere, in Green Bay,
Yeah.
to not even be nominated,
Yeah.
that's like interesting to me. But it's
Yeah.
also like, what am I putting out there? Am I putting out to my audience, hey,
Vote for
go
me.
here and vote for me?
Yeah.
I think it's a shift of like, not all things come to you.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Not all things just like, not all things that you think about or that you want, like, are manifested that way.
Yeah.
Like you actually have to speak things into existence. So
You do.
Next year you should put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Yeah.
Give me a vote because I guarantee you'll be nominated.
Yeah.
It's so funny because shout out to Brooke Lyons. She's one of my partners. And she actually sent me a message and said, hey, I would love to nominate you for this. What category would you be
Oh,
under?
that's
I'm
a good
like,
question.
I don't know.
Lifestyle?
Is there like a Best of the Bay magazine?
Yeah.
I don't know. And so my answer to her was, I don't know. But listen, I didn't pursue anything, but it made me feel so good that
Yeah.
one
Right,
of my
yeah.
partners
Yeah.
was like,
100%. Like,
you know,
would like to
because I
nominate you
voted for
this,
her, right? So I think that's one thing. But I think also going back to manifesting, you can't get what you don't ask for.
Right.
You will notice in your email, if you haven't already, that I
yep.
sent you an email.
Yep.
What did I send you an email on? Do you
You
remember?
asked for a Google review. Yep.
So it's so funny
Yeah.
because I go through intentionally every business partner that I have and I give them a 5-star review and I talk about something amazing about their business. And I recently just did it again. So 70 people, I'm going through and giving a 5-star review and I'm typing it. It takes some time, right?
Sure.
And I'm like, I had 3 Google reviews on my Stroll Edge View
Yeah.
page.
So you had 5 when I looked this morning.
Right.
was
I
like,
6 now.
Oh.
But I
7
said,
to
but
9 when I get
I
mine.
literally said, wait, I've done this for all these businesses. Is it okay for me to ask?
Yeah.
So I asked, right? Like if we can't get what we don't ask for. And all I said was, if you enjoy reading the magazine as a reader,
Yeah.
give me a Google review because
Yeah.
guess what? You as a business partner sees, oh my God, look at all these residents that read it and love it.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of that.
Right.
Or if you're a business partner that's had a great, but we have to be intentional about asking for things that we want in our business. We can
Absolutely.
manifest them. We can wish for them. But I think asking for things, and like you said,
Yeah.
put yourself out there.
Very
What's the
true.
worst that can happen? Somebody says
Absolutely.
no.
Yeah.
And
Like,
we
okay.
brush ourselves off as entrepreneurs do and move on.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love
like I said, it was just kind of a fascinating thing that hit me the other day. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I'm like, I wonder, because from both of your perspectives, where you stand on that, or because that's just another benchmark that we have manufactured that we should try. Oh, I've won an award or I've been
Yeah.
nominated, right? Like for Hollywood and everybody, 17 Oscar nominations. Like, oh my gosh, isn't that great? Like,
And I think that's something to consider. I've always been more worried about awards within the company not about in the community or serving
I've
or
won best
giving back.
videographer for Colburn Creative 3 years in a row. So.
Amazing. That is
Feels
awesome.
so, yes, I have a speech, everything
God.
every year. I'm so proud.
We're gonna
Christmas party must be lit.
when's the awards banquet? When's the banquet
right?
for
100%.
Colburn Creative? Can we have it here? Because we only have 3 people
Please,
that would
100,
attend.
absolutely.
I will show up.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but I think it's important. So manifesting your own goals, also asking for what you need.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. People do it of us every single day. Can you
Yeah.
give me a review? Can you vote for me for best of the Bay? Sure. Wait, does someone want to vote for me?
Right.
Like, I think that's fine.
100%.
I guarantee you that you've
Next
crossed
year I'm
people's
nominating
mind
you.
for that best of
Yeah.
the Bay. And it's like they go to vote and they're like, oh, well, they're not nominated yet. I'm not really quite sure. Whatever.
I don't know how
so
to
I
do
think
it.
next year that's something too that is
Yeah,
just it's
spell
cool
it
because
out.
it is a piece of it that gets you out.
Some credibility.
100%.
Yeah.
Credibility for the work that you've done, which is
Yeah.
really cool. So
For sure.
I was once published in a magazine.
What?
My work was published.
Was
in
it
a
Scroll
That's
Ledgeview?
Well, yes.
like-
I've been in a few magazines, but I was in an international magazine when I did a photo shoot in Colorado.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I saw you the other day, by the way, in the Country USA promo. Like leaning out of a truck. I was like, Allie. I was like, that was Allie.
God, I love it.
It took me because I had forgotten about it. Because then I was
Yeah,
like,
did you see my husband?
I did not. It was a fast flash, and then all of a sudden I was like, I thought that was Allie. And then you came back because it was like the shot of you like leaning out the window, like waving at the girls or whatever that went by, and I
Yeah.
was like, that's Allie. I'm like, I know her.
I love
I
that.
mean,
that's something that's so cool is that I was contacted by them as like a influencer content
Yeah.
creator. And this year my partnership is photography.
Oh, fun.
So I get to photograph the lifestyle of
Being
the-
at that event.
the
or-
festival, but I also get
So
to be
cool.
like up close with the artist. Like Eric
Yeah.
Church is going to be there, and I
So
get a
fun.
pass to go take pictures of the fans with him afterwards.
Oh, that doesn't suck.
And manifesting that when I had the conversation through email and she
When you
reached
went
out
in
to
your
me.
cute little outfit on your date weekend with Zach last year, is that what got you the gig?
I've been doing it for, this is my third
I would
year. I'm
love
going to
to
be there.
just show up places and have people
You
say
can
like,
come.
can you come back for free and just be an influencer
Right.
for me?
Yeah.
That's
you
my
wanna,
goal.
You want to be my content creator?
There you
Yeah.
go. Behind
The scenes to
Yeah.
take video of me doing my work job because that's what I need.
Yeah.
That is a goal.
Truthfully
Yeah.
though, that's something too that's just like been a goal and it's transpired into something that is so much more in alignment with, I love style. Obviously that is so much of what I want to do.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But in photography, like it's something too that through past work, through past, word of mouth, the other manager that I was working with at Country Fest was like, she does a great job. This is the photo she gave us when we hired her last year for some like short term photography things. So that's something.
And I think just building off of even like when you two came in and I was like, I'm so jealous of your little Fond du Lac weekends, right? And then Baxter said, well, doesn't anybody in Ledgeview own Airbnbs? You could do something with them. And I was like, oh. But sometimes just taking taking those
I will go
ideas
stay at their house anytime.
and speaking it into the universe because we're with like-minded people and
Yeah.
like-minded entrepreneurs. That's partly what I had with the thought of this topic is
Yes.
manifesting in goals. And I think it's okay to ask for what we want. And if someone says no, that's okay. There's someone out there that will say yes.
Yep.
100%.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
next year we'll all be nominated for Best of the Bay.
There we go.
We'll be staying in
Manifesting it right
Airbnbs, taking pictures and selfies,
I like it.
and we'll all be making $1 million.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Done.
Those are 3 goals.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Right.
High five.
Yeah.
High five to that.
Thank you for listening to our podcast.
We appreciate you and we hope we inspire you
Yes. or make you laugh or all of the above.
and in the chaos of our lives, maybe give you some tips on being a better entrepreneur. So
Or
Absolutely.
you can also help us be
Please.
entrepreneurs.
please
Also.
please tell us what you hate about us. No, don't. Save that for someone else. So, all right. Thanks for listening. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.